Greetings everyone, welcome back to the channel. Since we just got the third Dark Phoenix trailer yesterday, we are going to break this down. We've got a lot of Easter eggs to break down, and the movie is about a month away. I will be reviewing the film after I watch it in theaters, so be sure to subscribe to get all my content. Also, be sure to go check out my X-Men/Avengers crossover Peace in Our Time, which is on my fanfiction profile. It's a good time, I swear. So without further ado, let's do this. Alright, so first things first. We see the trailer opening up with the X-Men gearing up for a rescue mission in space. An anomaly caused by the Phoenix Force hits the spacecraft, so the X-Men must go to perform an operation of rescue. Charles is in Cerebro monitoring the mission as the X-Men are in the Blackbird with their suits on, which are modeled after the suits in X-Factor comics. The X-Factor suits, hands down, some of my favorite costumes that the original 5 X-Men have wore under Chris Claremont's run. We get a quip from Quicksilver about how, the X-Men are doing missions in space. Also, side note, who gets a feeling that besides Mystique, Quicksilver might also die too? We get a pretty big lacking of him in this trailer and other trailers too. Plus, with the Disney Fox buyout, we can't have two different Quicksilvers. Just viewing what the special effects for the Phoenix Force look like, hands down, the most stunning visuals I think I have seen since Aquaman. Water and fire are two of the hardest elements to film around, but I think adding in the shades of purple and magenta mixed with the orange, the white, the yellow, it helps to make the fire look more supernatural in that sense, and I really do enjoy that aspect of it. Mystique tells the X-Men, go get the astronauts, and we see Jean and Nightcrawler teleport to the spacecraft. As Jean is holding together the structural integrity, Beast is actually pointing out that this heat signature from the anomaly is beginning to rise, and as Nightcrawler teleports onto the jet, we hear Scott asking, where's Jean? Where is she? And that actually mirrors a lot from the movie X2. If you guys remember, Scott asking where Jean was, and they say she's outside. That's when we get the imagery of Jean being hit with the cosmic energy, and we just hear her screaming in pain as she absorbs all this power. Shortly, this cuts to Mystique telling Charles that Jean should be dead. She should not have survived that. It then cuts to an image of the X-Men's students all just staring at Jean in shock that she's even still alive, as we hear Cyclops telling Jean, did you hear what the kids are calling you? Phoenix. And it cuts to Jean and Scott out on a date, smiling, and they appear to be at peace and very much in love. Soon enough, Jessica Chastain's character approaches Jean as Jean is sitting at a bar having a couple drinks, and Chastain asks Jean, the better question is, who are you? We then hear Jean saying, something's happening to me, as it cuts to the scene where Jean is shaking and crying out in the pouring rain after having killed Mystique. And we see that the veins in her face are actually accentuated with fire. She says when she loses control, bad things happen, and we see her on Genosha just moving military helicopters as she says that it feels good when she loses her control. Sophie Turner has described this film as a story of Jean struggling with this addiction, and I would have to agree for the most part, because addicts always struggle with gaining back control over their lives, but at the same time, they want to continue getting drunk or high off this pure ecstasy of having whatever it is that they are addicted to. And if you guys know anything about the Phoenix Force in Marvel Comics and just how powerful it is, I could say that it could be equivalent to addiction, because the Phoenix Force, it gives you power over things you can't even imagine. Cosmic pyrokinesis, reality manipulation, space and time control. It gives you the power to literally allow you to have anything that you want. You can create anything that you want. You can swallow up whole stars with just the snap of your fingers. So you can see how this could be a story about addiction. And shortly after, we see Chastain showing Jean what the Phoenix is capable of. And she says, this power destroyed everything it ever came into contact with until you. Chastain says that the X-Men fear Jean, and we get awesome shots of her eyes just glowing orange. Jean then comes to the conclusion that what people fear, they seek to destroy. And I can only assume this is why she kills Mystique, because she's worried that Mystique is trying to take away her power. In the comics, part of the Phoenix's power source is the M-Cron crystal, which is essentially a home base for the Phoenix. And side note, never, ever, ever touch the Phoenix's home base in the comics. She will be pissed. We see cars being flipped over, Jean deflecting Storm's lightning, and Jean telekinetically throwing Scott and Xavier back with a force we never saw from her in any of the films, not even X-Men The Last Stand. We hear Beast saying that Jean is just too far gone to be saved, as Magneto pulls from the first X-Men film. He pulls that move that he pulled from the first X-Men film, just hauling this huge train through a subway station, and we see Jean telling Magneto that threatening her would be a bad idea as she tosses him out the window. We hear Scott screaming Jean's name, and we see Jean, I believe, reaching towards Scott's visor to rip it off his face, and that is a nod from the comics, of course, when Jean takes Scott's visor off to see his eyes for the first time. Now, let me know in the comments, what did you think of the trailer? Ultimately, the film is looking good so far, and the important thing is, Jean is the focus of it all. It's truly her movie, and this might be the closest thing to a standalone Jean Grey film that we are getting. Again, make sure to subscribe to get all the videos. With Dark Phoenix coming in June, I'm going to be putting up reviews and Easter egg videos for the movie after I see it. God bless and happy viewing! See ya!